The apocalypse descends. Others scavenge for supplies, while my family runs a renovation company. In my previous life, I built a safe house for my boyfriend outside, and my whole family was hacked to death. I'm taking the safe house. I'll be eating steak and drinking red wine, watching that scumbag get chased by zombies. I opened my eyes and was reborn 10 days before the apocalypse. This face before me, I'll never forget it. Even in life, Mao Bufin had my family do renovations, but never paid the final installment. My whole family was eaten by zombies. Right now, he's hypocritically handing me a sketch. Darling, for our future, I want to start a business, a themed bed and breakfast. Learn from your families, but the next second, I heard his voice again. Anyway, the apocalypse is coming. I don't plan on paying the final installment before the renovation is done. I suddenly looked up. That voice. Now, Bufin's mouth wasn't moving at all. Could it be that after being reborn, I can actually hear his inner thoughts? I looked down at the design requirements, military-grade protection, an independent security system, a super large storage room. Not a single word different from the order in my previous life. From the very beginning, he never intended to take me with him. My heart was filled with hatred, but I smiled on my face. Darling, your plan is too basic. To create a B&B, you need your own unique features. I pulled out a more luxurious, special plan. I recommend this Supreme VIP package. A titanium alloy door, an air filtration system. Not even a cockroach will be able to get in. His eyes lit up. Baby, I want this one, but I'm a bit tight on cash right now. I have a house under my name. I'll mortgage it to your dad's company first. I'll sell it and pay the full amount immediately. But his inner voice said, this is great. This foolish girl really is in love. Once the zombies arrive, this crappy company will be long gone. No need for the final payment. I smiled and handed him the mortgage contract. He signed it incredibly fast, as if afraid I'd changed my mind. I heard his inner voice again, another family fooled. Next, I'll use this house to get a loan and empty out all the nearby supermarkets. The moment Mao Bufin left, I burst out laughing. Hearing his inner thoughts, I awakened. It turns out this world is a novel about hoarding supplies for the apocalypse. Mao Bufin is the protagonist, and I'm cannon fodder. The plot details his rebirth into the apocalypse. He exploits my family, his love-struck girlfriend status, secretly hoarding supplies and building a fortress. After the apocalypse, he becomes a warlord. My family, 3 generations of military-grade safe house in my previous life, actually died outside the very safe house we designed. The most disgusting part is that after the apocalypse, my parents and I knelt, begging him to sell us some supplies. We pleaded with him to save us, for old time's sake, but he was inside the safe house, embracing several beauties, and used a loudspeaker to humiliate me. He told me to bark like a dog, and he'd give me supplies. I did it. The man I once loved looked at me like I was trash, and even deliberately lured zombies to us. My whole family was torn apart, alive. The novel's author even added a note. This plot segment is needed to highlight the male lead's decisive ruthlessness. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but dig my nails into my palms. Mao hatred, this life, it's your turn to be the cannon fodder the plot needs. The next day, I brought the renovation crew to the air raid shelter. I have to say, the air raid shelter Mao Bufin chose was a treasure. Not only was the basement spacious, but its inherent concrete walls even met wartime protection standards. Mao Bufin was still putting on an act. Darling, look, we'll make it the coolest apocalypse-themed B&B. The underground area needs to be divided into living close to my ear, feigning intimacy. Apocalypse survival enthusiasts are really rich these days. This is a huge project. Lol. If it weren't for being able to hear his thoughts with this terrible acting, I almost fell for it again. This silly girl probably hasn't noticed anything, right? Perfect plan. I playfully pushed him away. Turning around, I said to the master behind me, Master, the Zuanpo factory needs new solar panels. The renovation master looked troubled. Boss, the power plant needs a deposit. I immediately turned to Mao Bufin. I hugged his arm and shook it. My voice sickeningly sweet. Honey, didn't you say this was a multi-million-dollar project? The deposit definitely won't be a problem, right? Yes, absolutely. Once it's finished, I'll even give you, my darling, a big red packet. Sweat, but thought to himself, paid the deposit, and now there's less money. It's fine, I'll go get some more for the renovation these days. Several trucks rumbled in. Leading the way was a giant freezer truck. Behind it followed refrigerated trucks loaded with frozen meat, 100 whole frozen pigs, 50 sheep, 20 cattle. Now, Bufin was still pretending to fantasize with me about opening a B&B and making money in the future. The place was big and they could do some frozen goods business on the side. But his true thoughts were, once the apocalypse comes, a single steak will make the campus belle obediently come to me, right in front of me, his official girlfriend. He's already thinking about other women. Immediately after, the pharmaceutical company delivered 3 antibiotics of medicine killers, and even several boxes of condoms. I lowered my head, pretending to examine the blueprint, and sneered inwardly. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from the entrance of the air raid shelter. I looked up. Good heavens, he's moved a whole cannery here. Canned fruit, canned fish, and 20 boxes of Spam. I casually picked up a can of braised green beans. There are even canned vegetables. I silently noted down the freezers. Frozen meat, medicine, and canned goods. These would all be mine eventually. These days, the safe house was undergoing urgent renovations. I came to supervise as usual. Mao Bufin suddenly appeared. He forced out a fawning smile, took my hand and said, Honey, Can the construction be a bit faster? His voice was very gentle, but his inner thoughts were furious. Only 5 days left until the zombies arrive. What is this woman dawdling for? I can't stop laughing. He's panicking. He's panicking. In my previous life, the safe house was completed 3 days before the apocalypse. This life, I've decided to delay the construction by another 3 days. I just love seeing him stomp his feet in a panic to put on a smile. Apocalypse countdown 3 days. Mao, Yufin, with panda eyes, rush over. Why isn't the main gate for the urgent project installed yet? 3 days. This woman is definitely messing with me. Today should have been the completion date, but the most important gate is nowhere to be seen. I slowly put my hands in my pockets, calm and composed. Hey, don't get so agitated. The renovation is almost done. Shouldn't we settle part of the factory payment? The masters are waiting to get paid. Mao, Yufin's face twisted. Darling, just wait a little longer. I'll give it to you as soon as the house transfer is complete. He still wants to deceive me. I started acting. I pretended to sigh. We have to settle part of it today. Otherwise the masters won't work. And this gate still won't be installed in a week. I pointed to the entrance of the air raid shelter. His expression twisted, and he transferred a sum of money to me via his phone. This little bitch. Just wait until the zombies come. He kneeling and begging me. Upon receiving the deposit notification, I immediately shouted to the workers, "Masters, you're getting paid. Make sure to install the main gate within 3 days." The workers, having received their money, were full of vigor. Under my careful guidance, the bulletproof titanium alloy main gate was installed the day before the apocalypse. Mao, Yufin came to inspect it. I told him, "The password for the gate is your birthday. Don't forget the final payment." He forced an ugly smile, his thoughts venomous. "The final payment, maybe in your next life." Next life. But I'm the one who designed this safe house, you know. Apocalypse countdown 12 hours. I sprinted home quickly. I deadbolted the security door. The curtains were drawn tightly. My mom held a spatula, her face full of questions. "Daughter, with this posture, were you chased by a dog?" It was much more thrilling than being chased by a dog, Mom. The apocalypse is coming tonight. I slapped 3 sheets of paper onto the dining table. Air raid shelter blueprints, supply list, and that heartbreaking mortgage contract. I told my parents about the horrific way I was torn apart by zombies in my previous life. Welled up, like restarting a game. This time, no matter what, I would protect my family. I laid out my plan. Mom, Dad, Mao Yufin will be partying at the bar tonight. The safe house will be empty before midnight. Tonight is my only chance to reclaim the safe house. Oh, and there's something else I must do right now. I was in the group chat for the Night Not Dark construction crew and started typing. "Foreman, Night Not Dark company is on emergency leave. Salaries have been settled. Everyone, immediately procure large quantities of supplies and await further notice." The moment the message exploded out, the group was filled with non-stop questions and doubts. Only received messages. Finally, there was a voice message from Foreman Old Zhang. "Kiddo, thank you." I breathed a sigh of relief. Saving one is better than none. I immediately sat back down at my computer and sent an email to the community. The email contained an apocalypse warning. It listed future high-risk zones and an apocalypse survival guide. I sent it to the email addresses of all major media outlets. Platter on the table. "You, kiddo. You have a sharp tongue but a kind heart." I didn't say anything. In my heart, this wasn't a book. Every person here was real. Apocalypse countdown 6 hours. Exactly PM. My phone instantly buzzed with many messages. A vicious human-on-human biting incident occurred in the dwarf nation. An abnormal attack incident occurred in the American nation. I sprang up from my chair. I rushed to the window. Outside, Night Not Dark City was still brightly lit, but I knew clearly the apocalypse was coming soon. I suppressed my rising panic. I stopped and frantically refreshed Mao Yufin's moments. In my previous life, he left home at this exact time, and sure enough, at 6:30 p.m., his status updated right on time. A screenshot of his location in a bar's VIP room. The caption read, "Last hurrah, tonight, he would be there." Meeting the original female lead, Liu Ruyan. Apocalypse countdown 3 hours. The night sky pressed down heavily. Police sirens wailed in the distance of the city, but quickly faded. "Mom, let's go." I started the car. Inside, there was a deathly silence, only the increasingly heavy thumping of our 3 heartbeats. The car struggled to climb to the mountaintop. Under the moonlight, the entrance to that air raid shelter was pitch black. At this moment, Mao Yufin was probably still at the bar, enjoying his last moments of debauchery. I stood before the titanium alloy door. My fingers trembled slightly. I had personally designed this door, and a designer always leaves themselves a back door. I had set up a dual password system. Now, on the control panel, I entered the highest level access code BO. Access granted. Mao Yufin's password was completely invalidated. The apocalypse safe house now belonged to me. The moment we rushed into the air raid shelter, the cool white emergency lights automatically flickered inside the empty cavern. Mountains of supplies gleamed invitingly under the lights. Urban and rural canned goods, bottled water, medicine, and even an entire wall of cold weapons. "Mom, Dad, you to rest first." I headed straight for the control panel. My finger hovered over the red button. Now. Clunk. With a reassuring mechanical click, the 5-ton alloy gate slowly descended, completely locking the apocalypse outside. Large, star red characters flashed on the control screen. System safety mode activated. Remaining time infinite. I slumped into the chair. This time, I finally protected them. Now, it's time to watch the show. Mao, Yufin, without this safe house, let's see how you'll play your savior role now. The bunker I designed has a double-layer defense. The outer layer is a 20-centimeter thick alloy door. The inner layer is panoramic bulletproof glass, offering a 360-degree view of the entire mountain forest. In my previous life, Mao Yufin loved to stand here, like watching ants, enjoying the struggling survivors outside. But now, it's someone else's turn to enjoy the view. Not long after, on the surveillance screen, a modified sports car roared towards the bunker. The car door opened. Mao Yufin got out first, followed by 2 heavily made-up women. Liu Ruyan, the woman who made me bark like a dog in my previous life, and another unfamiliar face, were already glaring daggers at each other. That guy was actually still thinking. Only brought 2, barely enough. When the apocalypse breaks out, beautiful women will be kneeling and begging me. Suddenly, he noticed tire tracks on the ground. He paused, his steps faltering. Strange, tire tracks on the ground. Someone's been here. Impossible. Indeed, the protagonist's arrogance isn't so easily shattered. He turned, putting on his affectionate CEO face, and smiled meaningfully at the 2 women. My darlings, welcome to the apocalypse paradise. Liu Ruyan swayed her hips as she got out of the car, deliberately bumping into the other woman. Learn some manners. Brother Bufin dotes on me the most. The other woman rolled her eyes. What are you pretending? Your own mother wouldn't recognize that face after all the work you've had done. Bufin feigned affection, putting his arms around both of them. You're both my little sweethearts. But in his heart, he was ecstatic. The more you fight, the more I enjoy it. He walked proudly to the door, pressed his fingerprint. First verification failed. Mao Bufin's smile instantly froze. Disbelieving, he tried the password a few more times, but received a permissions revoked message. Just then, Liu Ruyan sidled up pouting. Brother, I'm scared of the dark. Mao Bufin whirled around and slapped Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan stumbled aside, tears welling in her eyes, but she dared not let them fall. After all, it was late at night in the suburbs. Mao Bufin's face turned a ghastly pale, and he frantically pulled out his phone. My screen lit up. It was a call from the male lead. Mao Bufin slowly pressed speakerphone. Darling, has the safe house system been infected with a virus? Why don't I have access? Is there another way to get in? But his inner thoughts weren't so polite. You better not be behind this, you bastard. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Why won't the door open? Is it broken? Frantic banging on the door came from outside, but I smiled very happily at the monitoring screen. The door has not been replaced. Just the password is wrong. No balance payment. The air raid shelter is mine. Mao Bufin's face on the screen instantly distorted. But the next second it switches back to a gentle expression. Baby, didn't you agree to pay me the balance after the house is sold? Calm. This love brain must have misunderstood something. Coax him to open the door. The zombies are coming and we can't be locked out. His inner voice is clearly revealed. I just rolled my eyes. The zombies are coming soon. He is still cheating on me, hiding from me. I reminded him to read Article 37 of the contract. Failure to pay balance after air raid shelter standard decoration company. Now he finally understood. His dream of becoming an emperor ruling the apocalypse was shattered. Unexpectedly, he suddenly threw himself against the bulletproof glass. The impact was off the charts. Are you in there? Open the door. You're the only one I love. His voice trembled as he begged to be let in. His inner thoughts were also full of panic. Faint screams could be heard in the distance, getting closer and closer. However, I simply hung up the phone and turned to walk towards the soft, large bed. You see, the living area of this basement was built to top-tier hotel standards. I slept exceptionally soundly that night. Tomorrow, I'll be ready to face the apocalypse. Day 1 of the apocalypse. On the street, a drunk man suddenly bit his companion's neck. The bitten person convulsed and fell. A few minutes later, they twisted and rose, their eyeballs pitch black, their joints bit unnaturally. From their throat came a terrifying growl. 3 hours later, the entire city collectively activated emergency mode. My phone vibrated incessantly. Various group chats exploded with messages. My colleague still at work was who understands. The apocalypse is here. Does this mean we don't have to pay our mortgages anymore? My husband mutated. The property management was still struggling to issue announcements, but there were no effective measures. It seems the hundreds of warning emails I anonymously sent out ultimately couldn't change anything. However, the renovation contractors group chat was full of cheer. Thanks to Boss Zhao Yu forcing us to invest in supplies. My wife is now sleeping with a can of food. She'll get mad at anyone who touches it. Seeing these messages, I felt relieved. Just then, the aroma of black pepper steak wafted over. Time to eat. Mom was frying steak. Bestie, come quickly. We're celebrating our move today. Dad was even more incredible. He just set up a go set in the living room. He claimed that even in the apocalypse, one must cultivate my character. At this very moment, I was being chased by zombies outside, while Mao Bufin was living it up in a safe house. Now, I'm enjoying a peaceful life in my safe house. A week passed like this, isolated from the world. The internet was intermittent. Every day, I scrolled through the watching the outside world collapse bit by bit. Supermarkets were looted clean. On the black market, a pack of crackers could be traded for 10 gold chains. Banknotes had long become worthless paper. Occasionally, I would also hear Mao Bufin's inner thoughts. This guy actually managed to infiltrate the apocalypse off-road gang, the very same group that he had repeatedly vowed to eradicate. Is this what they call the protagonist Halo? Unable to follow the apocalypse hoarding path, he immediately became an apocalyptic Chen. Even if the world was destroyed, he could still thrive and prosper. Messages in the WeChat groups became fewer and fewer. The property management group, which was active yesterday, only had a few scattered requests for help. Those once lively avatars faded out one by one, never lighting up again. I stood at the entrance of the air raid shelter, pulled back the wind curtain, and looked outside. In the distance, only scattered cars lay overturned on the ground. Occasionally, I could hear distant, piercing screams. They were quickly drowned out by the zombies' guttural roars. I retreated back into the basement, looking at the supplies inside. Suddenly, I felt much more at ease. Half a month into the apocalypse, I was petting a cat that had somehow snuck in. It felt incredibly soft. Suddenly, my phone vibrated wildly. Mao Bufin was spamming my screen with messages. Xiao Yi, open the door within an hour, or I'll flatten your pathetic hole myself. He also attached a high-definition photo. Over a dozen modified, battered vehicles surrounded my home. Next to them was a large bulldozer covered in unidentified shredded meat. Several thugs held knives, guns, and clubs, standing in an arrogant posture. The first one, of course, was our male lead, Mao Bufin. I'm the look on his face that said, small potatoes. His kingly swagger still hasn't come down from the altar. Once the door opens, I must devour a few pounds of beef and then take a hot bath. In the corner of the photo, there was also an acquaintance, the female lead from my previous life. She was like a broken rag doll, tossed onto the eyes were vacant. I felt like I was in a scene from The Walking Dead. Listening to Mao Bufin's incredibly confident inner thoughts, I almost burst out laughing. Wanting to eat meat, wanting to take a bath, dream on. Big Sis is going to make you crave it so badly. I lazily made my way to the first floor of the air raid shelter, securely behind the bulletproof glass. I opened a bottle of 82 Lafite. Then I picked up my knife and fork, and slowly, meticulously cut into the steak my mom had sizzling and dried, a black pepper steak whose aroma wafted for miles. All of you outside, dying of hunger. I'll put on a live eating show. Sure enough, dozens of eyes outside the glass instantly turned, staring intently at the beef on my plate. Liu Rian's lips trembled. Her eyes gleamed. Mao Bufin's face was contorted. He cursed loudly, but his vocabulary was pathetic. That woman, she's definitely doing this on purpose. That steak looks so delicious. It was all supposed to be mine. Just wait until I get in there. She'll be crying and cursing. Mao Bufin and his few muscular, but not so bright henchmen exchanged a few words. Cursing is useless. Get the bulldozer. I'll smash this damn door open. Soon after, there was a tremendous rumbling sound. That battered bulldozer, covered in zombie fragments, wobbled its way over. Oh, trying to break the door, huh? Bold idea. Too bad you have no brain. I sat back, swirling the cup in my hand, watching the show. The air raid shelter was a super fortress welded into the mountain's rock layers. Its outer shell was military-grade titanium alloy. That broken bulldozer would only make some noise. The shovel bucket repeatedly slammed against the main gate. Sparks flew quite a bit. After hitting it for ages, the door didn't even have a scratch. What's going on? Why is this door so tough? Impossible. I'm reborn. The script shouldn't be like this. The bulldozer is almost out of fuel. Why isn't the door open yet? Now, Bufin's composure completely broke. Seeing that the forced entry had failed and the bulldozer was almost out of fuel, Bufin's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Suddenly shifted. Now, Bufin, facing the surveillance, began his heartfelt performance. Zhao Yan, I was wrong. I shouldn't have owed your family the final payment. I did it all for our future. Please forgive me just this once. In his heart, his little schemes were flying. Yes, yes, yes. First, act submissive, trick her into opening the door, then Mao. Bufin's acting was so exaggerated it was painful. In my previous life, how could I have believed such nonsense? Finally, the bulldozer completely stalled. Seeing that, I had no reaction. Bufin and his rabble could only curse and grumble and drove away in their broken car, looking utterly defeated. He left. He was still seething inside, thinking, just wait, I know. There's a secret passage, and I'll definitely be back for next time. You won't be so lucky. What secret passage? My safe house has an entrance I don't know about. Wait, the kitten that inexplicably snuck in this morning, did it come in through that secret passage? Where exactly is this secret passage? I practically pressed my face against the wall. The flashlight beam repeatedly swept over every vent. Once, twice, 3 times, but there was nothing. Just then, my phone rang. A group chat named Renovation Company were occupying the safe house popped up. Inside were people claiming to be acquaintances and neighbors. Their accusations were all directed at me. So this is your backup plan. A profile picture of a beer belly spoke first. Little Yi, We watched you grow up. It's the apocalypse. You can't forget about us. Then Auntie Jan's voice message popped up. Her voice was choked with sobs. Zhao Yi. My Zhao Bao is only 7 years old. He has a fever of 40 degrees, and so on. I remember it clearly. His son only graduated from university last year. I liked his post on moments. The apocalypse can make people young again? A news link suddenly popped up, startling me. Renovation boss lady monopolizes safe house. Elderly and weak, on the brink of death. The accompanying picture was actually my uniform photo, edited to have devil horns. The comment section instantly became a moral high ground. Each one stood on a pedestal, pointing fingers at me. Yet they never mentioned that what they truly wanted were supplies. After all, begging while maintaining a facade of virtue is a traditional virtue. Inner thoughts drifted in. That guy, he is best at moral blackmail. Let them make a fuss, that'll be good. That's Mogtoad. As if he'd already seen me kneeling and begging for mercy. Does he really think I'm a saint reborn? I typed with a cold sneer. Seeing that I would distribute compressed biscuits, group chat's tone immediately shifted. I knew Zhao Yi was the most sensible. We didn't dote on this child for nothing. I closed the group chat. My finger swiped across the control panel. The safe house's attack system activated. Since they love to put on a show so much, then let them act to their heart's content. Outside the bulletproof glass, people claiming to be my neighbors and my relatives stared intently at everything inside the safe house. Some even used bricks, steel pipes, and even fire axes to smash the metal door. Mao Bufen's inner thoughts drifted in. Make a fuss, the fiercer the better. Once Yibuhei panics, I'll enter through the secret passage and take over the safe house. He really did want to seize power amidst the chaos. I need to deal with the people in front of me immediately. I activated the item exchange system. A small door above the metal main gate opened. The dispenser sent out 10 compressed biscuits. Seeing this, the leading strongmen immediately jammed the door cracked tightly with steel pipes. The doors jammed. Rush in and grab everything. So they weren't begging after all. They wanted to directly raid my home. I sneered and pressed a button. High-voltage electricity instantly passed through the steel pipes on the main door, knocking out the strong men who were jamming the door. The entire hillside became eerily quiet. I turned on the loudspeaker. My voice was icy cold. I didn't like that performance just now. Now, the rule for food is exchange it for gold. The crowd stirred. A man in a suit took off his gold watch. He threw it into the recycling slot for inspection. Flashed with a ding. The tray dispensed a box of supplies. The man grabbed the biscuits and ran before others could react. They saw zombies approaching from a distance. Finally, the crowd screamed and scattered, fleeing for their lives. I watched the chaotic scene outside. I didn't expect that I would still walk the same path as in my previous life. The same path as Mao Bufen. There's no other way. In indifference, kindness is a luxury. Rules are made by the strong. At this moment, Mao Bufen's inner voice came through. This damn secret passage is suffocating me. It's full of dust. It's ruining my throat. Violent coughing was mixed with hoarse gasps. There's a breeze ahead, almost at the main ventilation duct. I'll be able to. I suddenly stood up. My phone fell to the ground, but I couldn't bother with it. He had already snuck in, and he was very close. But which ventilation shaft was it? A mournful meow exploded from the storage room. When I rushed over, the kitten was frantically scratching. At the corner of the wall, there, a ventilation shaft disguised by grate was subtly vibrating. Tiny specks of dust quickly fell from its metal edges. That's it. I pressed my ear against the grate. I heard faint movements and gasps from inside. Another 100 meters forward, and it's the ventilation system. Mao Bufen's inner voice was incredibly clear. No time. I grabbed the alloy plate and quick-drying cement. Moving so fast it almost left after images. Amidst the sizzling sound of cement solidifying, the ventilation shaft was completely sealed, but it wasn't enough. I rushed to the main control panel and quickly operated it. The emergency gate lowered. A full system scan located the secret access point. I activated the targeted demolition protocol. With a muffled thud, the entire safe house gave a violent shake. The painting on the wall clattered to the ground. Immediately after, a series of dull collapse sounds came from deep underground. Help, it's collapsing. Then, it became completely silent. I stood rooted to the spot, only hearing my own heartbeat thumping in my ears. That annoying inner voice finally disappeared. 2 months later, the outside world had long since changed. Zombies or mutated beasts, pick any one, and they could make humans die in very creative ways. Meanwhile, my safe house had become the most ironic luxury goods store on the wasteland. Those diamonds once set in luxury watches were now only enough to exchange for half a compressed biscuit. But today, a serious piece of goods snuck into the trading party. A muscular man, through the bulletproof glass, tossed over a waterproof sealed bag. For 7 days worth of supplies, intelligence on several major settlements, their supply weaknesses, and intelligence on their next moves. In the apocalypse, this stuff is scarcer than gold. The transaction was handled cleanly and efficiently. Back in the main control room, I inserted the encrypted chip. The screen was immediately filled with deployment supply lists and other key data. Just as I was analyzing it, several lines of glowing text popped out of nowhere. The female lead is so sassy. I'm totally hyped for this sword demon. My fingers suddenly froze on the keyboard. Lol. A woman running a safe house? That's to fake. The scriptwriter has no brain. Is the muscular man foreshadowing something? Author update quickly. I slowly raised my head. So, I'm a character in an animation?